Happy day, students. Today we are going to see Democratic Politics Chapter 2 Constitutional Design Class 9. The first question that comes to anybody's mind is, why do we need a constitution? Well, to understand this, the only way to build and maintain trust in any situation is to write down some rules of the game that everyone would abide by. These rules lay down how the rulers are to be chosen in future. These rules also determine what the elected governments are empowered to do and what they cannot do. Finally, these rules decide the rights of citizens. These rules will work only if the winner cannot change them very easily. This is what the Constitution is meant to serve us. The constitution of a country is a set of written rules that are accepted by all people living together in a country. Constitution is a supreme law that determines the relation among people living in a territory and also the relationship between the people and the government. A constitution serves many purposes. First, it generates a degree of trust and coordination. Second, it specifies how the government will be constituted. Third, it lays down limits on the powers of government and tells us what the rights of citizens are. And fourth, it expresses the aspirations of people about creating a good society. The making of constitution for a huge and diverse country like India was not an easy affair. At that time, the people of India were emerging from the status of subjects to that of citizens. The country was born through a partition on the basis of religious differences. This was a traumatic experience for the people of India as well as Pakistan. At least 10 lakh people were killed on both sides of border in partition-related violence. Moreover, the British has left it to the rulers of princely states to decide whether they wanted to merge with India or with Pakistan or remain independent. The merger of these princely states was a difficult and uncertain task. When the constitution was being written, the future of the country did not look as secure as it does today. The makers of constitution had anxieties about the present and the future of the country. Despite all these difficulties, there was one big advantage for the makers of Indian Constitution. They did not have to create a consensus about what a democratic India should look like. Much of this consensus had evolved during the freedom struggle. Our national movement was not merely a struggle against a foreign rule. It was a struggle to rejuvenate our country and to transform our society and politics. The drafting of document called the Constitution was done by an assembly of elected representatives called the Constituent Assembly. Elections to the Constituent Assembly were held in July 1946. Its first meeting was held in December 1946. Soon after, the country was divided into India and Pakistan. The Constituent Assembly was also divided into Constituent Assembly of India and of Pakistan. The Constituent Assembly that wrote the Indian Constitution had 299 members. The Assembly adopted the Constitution on 26 November 1949, but it came into effect on 26 January 1950. To mark this day, we celebrate January 26th as Republic Day every year. These are the images of some of the members of the Constituent Assembly. Now the question comes, why should we accept the constitution made by the assembly more than 69 years back? Many countries of the world have had to rewrite the constitution afresh because the basic rules were not accepted to all major social groups. In some other countries, the constitution exists as a mere piece of paper. No one actually follows it. The experience of a constitution is different. No large social group or political party has ever questioned the legitimacy of constitution itself. This is an unusual achievement for any constitution. The Constituent Assembly represented the people of India. It was elected mainly by the members of the provincial legislatives. The Assembly represented members from different languages, different states, and different professions. The Constituent Assembly worked on a systematic and consensual manner. Some basic principles were decided and agreed upon. More than 2,000 amendments were considered. A drafting committee chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar prepared a draft constitution for discussion. Several rounds of thorough discussion took place on the draft constitution clause by clause. Every document presented and every word spoken in the Constituent Assembly has been recorded and preserved. These are called Constituent Assembly debates. Indian Constitution is called as a living document because it is followed by people. Second, it is rigid as well as flexible, and every time we see that the Constitution is evolving and not abandoned. This is an image of the preamble that is given in front of a constitution. It starts by saying, "We the people of India have solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens." Now, preamble basically is the essence of the entire constitution. Now let us see the meaning of all the terminology that appears in the preamble. Let us see what is meant by sovereign. People have supreme right to make decisions on internal as well as external matters. No external power can dictate the government of India. Socialist. Wealth is generated socially and should be shared equally by society. Government should regulate the ownership of land and industry to reduce socio-economic inequalities. Secular. Citizens have complete freedom to follow any religion, but there is no official religion. Government treats all religious beliefs and practices with equal respect. Democratic. A form of government where people enjoy equal political rights, elect their rulers, and hold them accountable. The government is run according to some basic rules. Republic. The head of the state is an elected person and not a hereditary person. Justice. Citizens cannot be discriminated on the grounds of caste, religion, and gender. Liberty. There is no unreasonable restriction on the citizens in what they think and how they wish to express their thought. Equality. All are equal before law. Fraternity. All of us should behave as if we are members of the same family. We, the people of India, as stated in the beginning, the Constitution has been drawn up and enacted by people through their representatives and not handed down to them by a king or any outside power. So with this, we come to the basic introduction of what is meant by a constitution and who framed it and what role it plays in our life. Please read the content that is given in the textbook. Thank you.